Welcome to the 3 Degrees of Freedom podcast, where we explore lifestyle engineering with our expert guests to bring you in alignment with your own 3 degrees of freedom, location, time, and financial independence. All right, everyone. Today we've got Mr. Caleb Johnson on the show. Hey there, Caleb. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Derek. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For those who don't know Caleb, he is a dynamic entrepreneur who started his career at the age of 18. It's amazing. Currently manages a diverse portfolio of assets, including 30 units in Albuquerque, 16 in Oklahoma, and then 40 in Las Cruces, New Mexico. He is a full-time real estate investor and business owner who founded Red Sea Capital in 2022. And he also has his podcast, From Trial to Triumph, and he's passionate about building long-term relationships with investors and dedicated to providing them with excellent service. He interviews notable guests on his podcast who are all leaders in their fields, and Caleb is a true believer in the power of relationships to achieve success, and that is why we are here today, Caleb. So welcome to the show, man. Great to have you on.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Let's just jump right in, man. So you're obviously a very young entrepreneur in the space. Why don't we start there? How did you get inspired to start as an entrepreneur at such an early age? Where did that come from?
Well, Derek, I love talking about that. And it really stemmed from two things. And the first being was my mom, and she's my why. And when she was about 60 years old, she had both of her knees replaced. So she had that surgery and she was out of work for 3 months. And she had planned to live off of her savings and then be ready to go back to work at the end of 3 months. And the time came and she was not ready. She had not healed properly, but she could not afford to sustain her living off of her savings because she was saving for retirement, being around 60 years old, and she was an occupational therapist. She was forced to go back to work and had not healed all the way. And so, Derek, I would see her come home in tears just because of the pain she had to endure, being on her feet for over 6 hours a day. And so that really broke my heart. And I wanted to help her financially and to retire early or on time. And then also, I saw that I didn't want that for myself, right? I did not want to be forced into that situation where I was saving for retirement and I had some unforeseen thing happen where I could not work and I was in hot water. And I also didn't want my future children to see that as well, thinking that's the only way to live or to be able to survive. And around the same time, I also learned that 90% of millionaires had gotten their millions through real estate investing. And when I learned that, I thought that was crazy. 90% of the wealthy had gotten their wealth through this one avenue. I thought those were really great odds. So I knew I had to dip my toes in the water. And after that, it's the rest is history.
That's incredible. One thing I want to back up on here is you said that you didn't want to have that same life that your mom was going through, right? Or you wanted to prevent that or break that cycle, right? Now, it takes a
Right.
certain type of person to make that connection at such a young age. You were probably in high school or maybe in college at that point, right? So
Out of high school.
where did that come from? Can you talk a little bit more about that attitude of being prepared or wanting to think 2 steps ahead? Because that's what I'm seeing here, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, you're right. And I think I've been blessed with that. I think there's some people were just made. I think there's two types of people in the world: entrepreneurs and W-2 workers. And I say that jokingly. I think some people just, I never really wanted to work for someone else. I had done that and I had gone through just the uncomfortable, being uncomfortable about going to a job, working when I didn't want. And I saw the freedom and I always thought there are these people that are living the life that I want to live. So how do I get that? What do I need to do that? And I always had my dad was a really positive role model for me. And so he never deterred me from pursuing anything. And so that was such a huge blessing for me. And so I think also feeling that unconditional love and knowing that no matter what happens, it's okay. and at least that I try, do my best. That was, I think, what the foundation of that was. I saw that other people had what I wanted, and I knew that a job was not the path that was going to get me there.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love that. It definitely helps to have some of those positive role models early on, and I think that, your parents gave you those the injections that you needed to set you up on the path that you're on right now. So that's amazing stuff, and I love that you're looking up to them, or at least that's what you said. Your mom is your why, and so I
Mhm.
really appreciate that. Right now, I want to move on here, and I want to ask you, how do you view yourself on the journey to picking up your individual degrees of freedom? We talk about location freedom, time freedom, and financial. And oftentimes it takes quite a bit for us to try to get to that financial piece, but there's a much better or easier way to try to approach first the location freedom and then the time freedom, and then eventually go for that financial. How are you tackling these 3 degrees of freedom, or how are you thinking about it in terms of your lifestyle right now? And how are you pursuing them?
Yeah, that stems back to a story probably about 12 months ago where I had dinner with a good friend of mine, him and his wife, and he had just left his day job. And I think he had a couple Airbnbs and a fourplex. And I had been investing for a little bit longer than he had. I had some more experience, but I had my day job. And so I thought, man, how do you have what you have? Because I want to have that life, right? I want to have that freedom. He's traveling and doing these things. And he said, Caleb, I really think you're just resourceful enough. If you quit your job and if you have some reserves, then you can figure it out. And so, because I always had the mentality, I had been investing at that time for about 4 years and I still have my job. And so, when you first start investing and you have your day job, it's, man, when can I leave? That is like the goal. And so that was where I was at. And that really hit home to me when he said that if you just leave and of course you want to have some reserves that, you can just figure it out. And that was really what motivated me to actually think, you know what, I have $10,000, let's say, in the bank, and I can actually leave my day job and pursue this real estate thing full time. I had the experience and I have the knowledge of what it's going to take me to get that done, to generate that income. And so I'm just going to do it. And worst case scenario, I have enough capital for 6 months of reserves. Worst case scenario, I go back and get a job, or I go start driving Uber Eats or DoorDash. And that is worst case scenario. And so I just bought myself 6 months, and that was just a huge blessing to have that conversation. And from there, that's how I got my time freedom and the location freedom that you talk about, which I love, by the way. I love that podcast dynamic. And so that's how it started.
Man, you know what? I just got to say here that I'm hearing so much of myself in this. It's crazy. I just wish that I knew it all when I was your age. That's the thing. And it's really crazy for me to say that because we're about 12 years apart or so. And I think it's very powerful for me to hear this. And I think that where you're headed in the next 10 years is just an amazing place. And I'm really can't wait to see more of where that leads you. Because I had a similar conversation with my coach, and my coach said, look, I know that you're scared, and money was a really big thing for me. Like I was really worried about that. I was worried about hitting zero. And even at the time, I was so focused on the cash flow, like how much money was coming into the household and how much was leaving it, that I was basically making all of my decisions in life based on that. And then when my mentor told me, he said, hey, every time you've gotten into a rough situation, you've always managed to land on all 4 feet or all 2 feet. And he goes, why not put that to the test? Because the worst case scenario, exactly like you said, is you just got to go back to the job. So you
Mhm.
owe it to yourself to try something like this. You owe it to yourself to at least find a different job that would allow you to work remotely, or have a job where it's a little bit entrepreneurial. So your time isn't, you're not clocking into a, a time clock, right? And so you can get some of those location and time freedom pieces. And so that's when I really started to move up. And so let's talk a little bit more about this. I think, a lot about this journey of walking through the 3 degrees of freedom and entrepreneurship in general and just success is all mindset. So, can you talk me through how you've changed mindset wise from the age of 18 or even before that to where you are today? What types of things have you gone through in order to get to where you are from the mindset point of view?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I can't even think to when I was 18. Just, I think a couple things stand out. And one, I think the first thing that's on my heart is that getting a coach, where it was for me, it was actually a life coach and a counselor actually. And I'm a believer and so a Christian. And so he was really revolved around Christianity, but he also had a lot of sales experience, training experience. And being around him, he's very intelligent, very smart guy, and he's probably 65 years old. And so being able to speak with a professional that has the degree, but the life experience of a true professional. And I was blessed. I think he only charged me like $35 an hour, and I still meet with him. And so that's very low cost if counseling costs, but that was huge. So finding a coach that you can really just hang out with and they can rub off on you, so to speak, and you can understand what to say, how to just be more professional. Because I'll tell you what, Derek, 2 years ago, I was a different person, low self esteem, just had a lot of things that I needed to work through. So having that coach, that counselor really helped me in that. And that's really speaking to a young professional. And so I think there's always things that we can develop, even no matter what age. So that was, I think, a big key. And there's also, I think, just taking that leap of faith again. It's so important just to take that leap of faith because you gain confidence when you do that. So I feel like we're kind of harping on the same thing, but that was another thing that I really think bolstered me ahead.
Yeah, if you stop to think about it, right? Like some of the most professional people that are working at a world-class level in anything, like whether it's sports, like golf or tennis or name your subject, right? Even business or even education, whatever m- an occupational thing like electricians, plumbers, right? They always have mentors if they're serious about their craft, right?
Mhm.
Why do people not take this path of taking, being like having a mentor? You got to be this serious about it, right? If you really want to achieve something in life, you've got to put your, you know, put your accountability, be accountable for the thing that you're wanting to work on. And the number one thing that I've seen, including like what you're doing with your amazing success, is that mindset is the root of it all. And if you can find someone to help you with that, whatever vehicle it is, whether it's real estate investing or whether it's entrepreneurship or whether it's volunteering or just lifestyle in general, if you have someone that you can talk to help reveal what's on your mind and to have those deep conversations, the more you're open to the feedback, the more benefit you're going to get, especially when it comes to mindset. So I love
Mhm.
that a lot.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this too, because you mentioned in the form that your one of your strengths is underwriting and asset management. And so I have a feeling that you like to have a left brain approach to things, but yet we both have to think in a right brain and a left brain approach.
Mhm.
So can you talk to me a little bit about how your journey through these 3 degrees of freedom or the pursuit thereof and building these has been informed by that perspective or your strength of being able to underwrite and asset manage properties?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I first started investing in commercial real estate with the mentality that I would be raising capital because I thought I had been investing for 4 years, 3 years, and I had built some relationships that with some people that had money. So I thought that would be my path into commercial real estate. It did not go as well as I thought. And so I had to find another way to still get to my goal. And the way that I found to do that was underwriting. And really the way that I started to do that was going on Crexy and LoopNet and these resources that are like the MLS service. So they're free, but you can get contact information of the brokers that know property owners in the market that you want to buy. And so, really, Derek, answering your question is finding what your goal is, what you want, and then asking yourself how to get there. That was really important for me. And so, since it wasn't capital raising, I asked, how can I still get this done? And it turned out underwriting was something that is really base level that, to get a deal, you need to know how to underwrite it. You need someone needs to bring the deal, right? That's like the start of uh, an offering. So, that is how I got my foot in the door. And then that progressed over the last 3 years since I've been underwriting. The processes I have and just the level of skill and the experience I have has really helped me get confidence and to get more deals done.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And something I picked up on as you were talking about this is you said, I tried capital raising, but then that didn't work. And then I moved on to something else. Now, a lot of people would just give up at this point. So, can you talk to me about that point in time, right? Where maybe this was a challenge in your journey where you had to reassess something. What was that like going through that moment?
Yeah. In my career, I've had several moments like that where things happen and it's not what you planned, and it completely changes the trajectory of what you thought was going to happen, and it really tests you. And I think those are incredible opportunities. And kind of like you said, again, it goes back to mindset. It's some people think the cup is half full, some people think it's empty. And life is so much better when you look at it as half full. So asking yourself how you can get this done and surrounding yourself with people that have what you want to have, I think is very important too, because that tells you and that really is evidence to you that you can get it done, right? The way that I started really shifting that mindset from residential to commercial investing was I went to one multifamily real estate meetup, and the guest speaker, he had over 150 million in assets under management. And and he talked about his first deal where he raised capital for it. And long story short, within 2 years after acquisition, they sold the property and they made $2 million in that 2 year period. And I wanted to focus on residential investing. And then I heard that and I was like, that is crazy. You cannot do that in residential investing unless you have this huge scale of a business and it's going to take you decades to get there. But with one multifamily property, and that was this guy's first deal too. And yes, time was the where the market cycle was, that was a factor, but still that was just incredible. And knowing that and seeing someone that had done that was really eye-opening for me and really gave me the motivation to take the next step.
I think there's a little bit of open mindedness there too, right? Sitting there in that room and hearing this, like it must have been like I'm just trying to put myself where other people would be if they were projected into you when you're listening to this. A lot of people would look at this and be like, they would either react one way or the other. One way would be, I'm not listening to this guy. I have so many, like, I've spent so much time and energy going down this route. I'm just not going to listen. And then
Mhm.
there's the other side, which is the openness to be able to say, wait a minute, there might be actually a better way. Yeah, I've done all this before, but how can I use that as a springboard of experience for going into something new like this?
Mhm.
Do you have anything to say about that moment from that perspective? Like, have you always been that open to this type of thing or and factual to be able to just switch your trajectory to something that seems to be the right choice?
I haven't always been that way. And I think back to when I was in high school, I was had a very low self-esteem, maybe even depressed, and I was very introverted and being introverted is okay. I'm still an introvert. right? But in that time when I was maybe 16, 17 years old, I was on a big high school campus and I would walk half a mile out of my way just to avoid as many people as possible. And
Yeah.
that feeling that I had from that was so negative and so demeaning that it still can give me a pit in my stomach thinking about that, and just having that negative self-talk. And I really got to a point, Derek, where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I said, God, please help me. I'm done. I don't want to be this way anymore. And shortly after that, my life changed, and I just saw life from a different point of view. And so the moral of the story is I really think people got to get to the point where they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And no matter what it takes, you're just going to get it done. And I think that's so key to development.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that. And I still think that there is a special type of person that takes that rock bottom and makes a lesson of it and moves on. And because, again, I hear so much of myself in you because I used to do the same thing in college and high school. I would go out of the way because I was very internal. I had a lot of internal chatter also.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't really know exactly where that came from, but it's just really interesting reflecting on it and seeing, yeah, I did that too. And it's really cool. It's funny how life unfolds, right? Like we meet people, things happen to us, and then as long as you have an open enough mind to change, look at where it's put you, right? So I think that's amazing.
It's crazy how the world works, man. Just things happen, and again, hindsight is 2020, so we never know what is going to come out of what our future is. But it's very interesting to just see how those things unfold, and they do, a lot of times, just turn into incredible opportunities.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And as a matter of fact, the last thing I'm going to say about this is that for the listeners out here, maybe they're at that point right now. Maybe they need to hear us talking about this because maybe they're about to go through their inflection point. And so I just think it's really cool and really powerful to hear stories like yourself. And dude, you're 25, man. It's amazing. You have 5 times your lifetime to live, or maybe 4 times your lifetime to continue living on this planet. And half of that time you're more or less like learning to navigate the world and the social structure, right? Like up until age 13. I'm super excited to watch you in your journey. Now, last question I have before we head into the rapid round here is I'd like to hear from you. What is your definition of success, man?
Oh, I love that question. I think my definition of success is to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. And it really comes down to just focusing on my belief and seeking Christ in everything I do. And life just works out from there. And I really feel like I'm called to do this real estate game and help as many people along the way as I can, minister to people. And we can't take anything on this earth with us. And so whenever it's all gone, what are you going to be able to take with you? And it's only your relationships. And so I think that is what my focus is in success, and helping the people around me. That's really what success is. And I've been on the other end where it's more about money and more in the moment, um, living. And again, that was when I was the least happiest. And so it's interesting to look at people that give and then those people that don't give, and just seeing their level of happiness. And if you just take a look at people, I think you'll be intrigued, and it'll be just interesting seeing just the difference in those people.
Yeah, 100%, man. Said, I love it. I'm going to fall right in line with that definition of success as well. So thank you for verbalizing that for us.
Love
All
it.
right, let's head into the rapid round. So these are the same 5, 6 questions that we ask each one of our guests, and each one of them are meant to last about 30 seconds in response. So if you're ready, we're going to rapidly ask them to you, and hopefully you can rapidly answer them. So are you ready to go?
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Number one, name any resource that was or is essential in your journey to pursue these 3 degrees of freedom.
I would say the first thing that comes to mind is bigger pockets. And now there's a lot of resources out there that are free resources for people to learn from. And for real estate investing in particular, Bigger Pockets is kind of like Facebook for real estate investors. So it's a great networking tool so you can get around people that have what you want to have and really opens your eyes to what's possible. And so they have a great podcast as well. And now it feels like they have 50 different
Yeah.
podcasts,
Yeah.
but that's what I'd say.
Yeah. Excellent. Great resource. Number two, if you woke up and your business was gone, but you had $500, a laptop, a place to live, and food, what do you think you would do first to rebuild?
I would start networking. If everything was stripped away, my business was stripped away, and I would definitely start networking. It's incredible. Capital is so important for this industry. And if you don't have it, you need to know someone that does have it. So network with people that have the capital or just search for opportunities. Search where the market cycle is. And so where you can start a business. And that's what I would do.
Yeah. Love it, man. That's awesome. All right. What does your self reflection and goal setting practice look like?
Self-reflection really looks like, where am I spending my time and how much time am I kind of spending in fun time. This year, I'm traveling more than I have ever traveled. I think to Jordan, Scotland, Hawaii, Costa Rica. Knowing where my time is, that is my most valuable resource. And I am blessed to be able to work from anywhere in the world. So being okay with taking a step back and really making sure that I'm spending life the way that I want to spend life.
Yeah, you and I have a lot in common there also. My wife and I are also digital nomads. And so we're
Mhm.
traveling around the world constantly and just loving life also because we do asset management and we do a lot of the things that you do as well. And it's a very cool type of niche because you can do it from anywhere. Even capital raising you can do from afar. So love it, man. Number four, what are the core work habits that you attribute to your success?
The core work habits, it's never giving up. I have a quote that says, it's not my quote, but I use it all the time. And it's, if I quit, it will last forever. So no matter what happens, I just made a video about this today. That I have a goal of, I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. And if I'm an apartment investor, but I'm dipping my toes into the Airbnb space, and because it's going to get me my goal. So real estate is not in a box.
Mhm.
And so whenever we're seeing a lot of a decrease in apartment transactions across the country. So what's going to get me my goal? And I'm not going to try to stay in real estate, and I'm not going to give up, because the only way that you lose is when you give up. So I think that's one of the biggest core values of mine that's really just held the test of time.
Yeah, yeah, very well said, man. I've been seeing that a lot also, and it's making people think about diversification. So 100%. All right, number five. What books do you recommend to people to jumpstart their own success?
The book that comes to mind is Atomic Habits. And man, when I
Nice.
read that book, it was just eye opening,
Yeah,
just how
yeah.
you can habit stack, and just how important habits actually are. So I would say habit stacking. And there's another couple books. There's one about Babylon.
Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah, thank you. I could not think of the name, but really short book, to the point, but it's just cool. It's like this
Amazing.
fantasy, but it's
Yeah.
really has some good points to it too.
You know what? A funny fun fact about Richest Man in Babylon for me, every
Mhm.
time we go on an international trip, I always pop that audiobook on the plane because it's only like a 2 or 3 hour audiobook, and so it's a perfect, like, relaxation mechanism for me to reset myself in the mindset, and usually when I do that, I end up going into goal setting mode when I'm on planes because there's nothing else to do, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I love using that book to help get the juices flowing because it's great. It's told in a parable form. And so those who haven't listened to it, you definitely need to pick that up. Great
Mhm.
recommendation.
Thank you.
All right.
And one more book, Derek, is Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah,
It's getting out of the box again, but that's a really good one.
agreed, man. Awesome. All right. Last question I have for you today. What tool or process has become one of your most important time, money, and or energy saving ninja magic trick that you use every single day?
It would probably be time blocking. So very similar to time blocking. And I was hitting the pavement hard in my business, felt like I was at least, but I wasn't getting success.
Mm,
So I spoke with my life coach and he said, so many people, let's say if your goal, if you generate income through sales calls, people will have 15 minutes here, take a little water break, 15 minutes here, and especially working from home, it's so easy to get distracted. So, setting a time, let's say for 6 hours every day, I'm going to work in my real estate business, or maybe it's 3 hours. Whatever you start with, commit to that time, but make sure, let's say you're in hour intervals to, I'm not going to move my seat for an hour and I'm just going to work on real estate, whatever it is, if it's calling brokers, if it's underwriting. And so then that's how you can take your work into bite-sized chunks. And that has helped me exponentially grow my business.
yeah, awesome, man. Love it. Great advice. All right, man. We've run out of time here today, but before we go, first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was amazing stuff, man. And just super inspiring, your story. I really appreciate hearing you. And from a 25-year-old, you got a lot of bright things in the future. I know I've said that multiple times, but that's how confident I am when people are confident about what they want in life. And I can definitely see that there.
Well,
So,
Derek, thank you so much for being for the opportunity
yeah.
to be here. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too. It was really fun, man. I hope that I can hop onto your podcast. And by the way, while we're there, why don't you tell the people a little bit more about how they can find out about you and what you have going on in the world?
Absolutely. So the easiest way is just to go to look up From Trial to Triumph. That again is From Trial to Triumph. And it's a podcast where I interview people who have gone through tremendous trials and they have come out triumphant. And we do talk about real estate on there. And we have pivoted to really focus on more professionals that can help you grow your business, be it marketing or coaching or whatever that looks like. Check us out there, and that's going to be the easiest way.
Awesome. Very cool. And also during the production form that we sent to you before the podcast, we asked for all of your social media and website and links to stuff there for everyone to see. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It was a blast having you on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Derek.
And for all of you folks who are still listening to the podcast, I want to thank you guys specifically. And please, wherever you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, comment, just engage with us in general, because we want to find out more about who you are and what you're looking for. And we also want to appease those algorithm gods as well and make sure that they they start pushing us up so that we can expose more and more people to all this incredible information and also spread Caleb's message and also other people like that as well. So thank you guys for listening. And Caleb, once again, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Derek.
All right. Have a good one, everyone.